Palmetto Pointe Potty because a Palmetto Pointe Potty don't.
Stop!
Yeah.
What's up, everybody? It's podcast time. Thank you for joining us. It is I'm gonna call this Missionary Week just because I feel like that's what's in the room with me. We got Phil behind the camera on the mic. We got Scott Slade over here to my left, your right.
Hello, everyone.
And Bryson Grizzle over here. He's in town for a few minutes. He may have to run at some point in the middle of this. If he does, y'all just forgive him. It's not because he has to use the restroom or anything like that. He's just got a phone call he's got to make.
Scott's definitely going to have to go to use the bathroom at some point during this.
All right, Scott. Scott runs missions here at our church. Him and his wife, they are incredible. First mission trip you ever went on was to?
Colombia.
South
America.
Colombia, not South Carolina. It's Colombia, South America. First mission trip you ever went on?
Mexico.
Mexico, what part?
Costa Rica.
Costa Rica. Like you posa?
Yeah, posa and then Eureka.
Rica. All right, that's cool.
Not Costa Rica.
Phil, first mission trip you ever went on was?
Kenya.
Whoop, whoop.
How crazy is that? First mission trip, that man go spend 90 days.
Guy who was in Kenya.
You knew a guy?
Yeah, I knew a guy. Yeah.
Now you know a guy still, but and Colombia, South America. And why did you go on this trip?
Well, it's just an amazing trip. It was just God put it all together for me to this day. That trip the trajectory of my life was going like this, and then that trip just kind of sent me into a different direction.
I knew Scott during the trip, but I didn't know Scott. And I tell the story, it's very true. You can validate this. Scott was kind of like the guy, he just kind of signed up last minute, and we weren't really sure. We didn't really know Scott.
I didn't know if I was going to make it.
He didn't know if he was going to make it. We didn't really know Scott. Nobody really had a relationship with him. And so as the pastor, you always kind of get the bad room. You get the roommate that nobody else wants. And so everybody else kind of divvied up roommates, and I got stuck with Scott. And I had no clue.
Stuck with Scott.
I had no clue what that was going to birth. And by the end of the trip, Scott and I were besties. And I came home and told my wife, I said, I had no clue what I was expecting from Scott Slate, but what I got was absolutely incredible.
It was great. I mean, that trip was, like I said, there's so many moments on that entire trip that just changed my life.
Life-changing.
Yeah. I mean, I could talk all day about it.
So were you a big coffee drinker prior to the trip?
I was not. I was already in my 30s by the time I went on that trip, and I didn't drink coffee to stay up and study. I didn't drink coffee to get up and go to work. I was never a big coffee drinker until that trip.
So not a big coffee drinker. You go on this trip, and then we sit down for breakfast one day at what was the name of that place?
La Fuente.
La Fuente.
The little cafe there.
And we sit down, and the little lady's name behind the
Angel.
Scott would try to help her cook, and she would get so mad and shoot him out of her kitchen. Yeah. It was so great. The angel behind the counter was Rosa. She did everything. She cooked breakfast, lunch, and dinner. She was amazing. And then first morning, I asked for a cup of coffee because you're in Colombia.
Yeah,
you're supposed to. I don't know what's good about Colombian coffee. I just know like you get a K-cup and it's like Colombian coffee. I don't ever see like, maybe I'm just missing it, but I don't ever see like Peruvian coffee. I'm sure they're out there, but like Colombia is like a big coffee thing. So I felt like I'm not a huge coffee drinker either, but I felt like I needed to drink this Colombian coffee. So we looked this angel in the eye, and now this lady's like 70.
She's old, little old lady.
And we say, can we get a cup of coffee? And she brings us
this divine elixir that changed my life. I mean, to this day, I have been very fortunate to drink coffee from like all over the world, all kinds of coffee, but nothing compared to that cup of coffee. Like I've been chasing that cup of coffee for the last 10 years. Like I don't even know how she did it.
Yo, this is a true story. This is a true story. So we start drinking this cup of coffee. I'm not a huge coffee drinker. Scott's not a huge coffee drinker. We start drinking this cup of coffee, and we're like, Colombian coffee is the most delicious coffee I've ever had. And then we say, can we get a refill?
Wasn't the same.
Wasn't the same.
Can we get another?
Can we get another refill? Wasn't the same.
We just got the wrong bottom of the pot or something like that.
We would walk down the road to random places. Can we get a cup of coffee? Wasn't the same.
I've never had another cup of coffee the same. And I've chased it, like I said, getting into coffee now, I've started to experiment. Like, how did she do that? I've bought, like, Colombian coffee. I did all these theories of how this happened. I came up with this thing called sugar milk. But I thought, man, it's got to be sugar. I don't even know what sugar milk is, but I came up in my head, like, sugar milk is it. This is gonna be it. This is how I'm gonna match it.
There's a Walter White in there with coffee.
It wasn't.
It wasn't sugar milk?
I couldn't have done it. Like, we've got to go back to Fusugasuga and the La Fuente. Hopefully Rosa is still there and get another cup of coffee.
Ask her how she did that. Beautiful elixir. When it touched Scott's lips, he went, I like coffee.
I have not stopped drinking it since then.
So now you are into coffee. Yeah. Now you roast our in-house coffee here.
Yeah.
Awesome. We won't go through the process, but really quickly, when we started this, we were buying beans from Honduras, from a pastor there that we helped him buy his field for coffee beans, and we bought the first crop of beans for him to plant. He grew the beans, and then we bought the coffee from him, and then roasted the coffee in-house, grind it, or whole bean, however you want, and then we were selling it and then giving it back to missions. This year we gave it to Thailand, to the orphanage there, so that they could have clean drinking water.
Yeah.
So, which is really incredible, right?
So incredible.
So now you're a coffee aficionado. How many cups of coffee on a typical day do you drink?
I mean, 5 or 6.
What time do you start drinking coffee?
About 4:30.
What time do you stop drinking coffee? 4:30 in the morning, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
What time do you stop drinking coffee?
I usually have one before bed, so maybe about 8 o'clock.
He says sometimes he'll be drinking a cup, sit it down on his nightstand, and then go to bed.
Yeah.
Like,
I fall asleep.
Drinking his last cup of coffee. When do you start drinking coffee?
It's either coffee or Red Bull, like first thing in the morning. First thing.
And then do you have like a cutoff, like, hey, I can't drink coffee after this time?
4 o'clock.
4 o'clock. Me too, man.
4 o'clock, done.
If I drink a 5 o'clock cup of coffee, and I have recently, if I drink a 5 o'clock cup of coffee, I am 10 o'clock at night laying in the bed going,
yeah. But I monitor my caffeine also.
Yeah.
I can have 400 milligrams every day.
That's it, max.
Yeah. But then my pre-workout's like 300.
Yeah, so you're not getting much.
No. When I started doing that new pre-workout, my coffee and drinking went down. But before that, it was like 3 cups a day.
All right, so Scott is a coffee aficionado. When do you start drinking coffee?
I try to wait like an hour and a half after I wake up, because I heard that it helps your like energy levels.
And then do you have like a cutoff time?
No.
No, you're all night long. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, my family usually drinks coffee like late into the night too.
Yeah, I see Fa. She's really
she sniffs her coffee.
Yeah, she's the woman that like posts the pictures, the memes of like, you know, don't mess with me, I haven't had my coffee yet. She's the big coffee coffee lady. So here goes what we've done. I saw this on Dude Perfect, and I thought I want to do this with Scott because it would be great. We have in front of us 6 cups of coffee. Phil, help us out.
All right, in no particular order, you have 2 PPC coffees here.
So we have our regular
drip.
Our regular Scott grinds it in house. He puts it in the thing. He hits go.
Drip.
It drips, and we get this pot of coffee.
Yeah.
And we have his French roast,
press,
which is
French
just
press.
French press, which is just the beans.
No, you get a really coarse grind. Just chip them up. Put them in the pot. Pour that hot water on them, and just let those grinds just soak in the water.
Which is the best. This is,
to me, it's my personal
this should be the best. This should be our favorite.
I'm voting for gas
Okay,
station.
what else? What else you have?
Then you got Keurig.
A Keurig, K-Cup,
and then you got
okay.
Gas station.
A gas station around here.
Burger King.
And
then Dunkin'. That's the 6.
So here goes what we're going to do. We're going to try to rate these in order from our most favorite to our least favorite.
So it doesn't have to guess like, oh, that one's.
I mean, we'll probably
try to
through the
guess what it is,
process.
yeah.
We'll probably through the process try to guess it, but
Okay.
then we'll rate them 1 to 6.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
And our ratings could be
what happens.
different. So if you're like, hey, I like number 1 better than number 3, and I like number 3 better than no. It's okay.
So turn it for the viewers. So
Okay.
each cup has a number on it, and on the bottom of the cup there is what it actually is, but they won't be able to see it.
Yeah, we have no clue what's in each cup. Phil does. We don't. So we're starting right to left.
Okay.
Me and Bryson are going to share,
Yes, we are.
and he and I are going to get on the same page with which one we like the best. And you are all solo on this, okay?
Okay.
So when we turn it up, you let us know, Phil, if we need to, if our lids are on right. So when we turn it up, you should be able to see.
I'm gonna put it on the screen for them.
Okay.
To see what it is. Yeah.
So we have
So
cup number 1.
Number 1.
Number 1. Cheers.
That is
Delicious.
that's at the
It's like, that's,
at the bottom of
watch that be
the ladder
Scott.
right
It's
there.
disgusting. This is my person. Terrible.
I know exactly what that is.
So be careful when you tip up towards each other.
That's Palmetto Pointe
Yes,
Church
yeah.
coffee right there.
It better not be, man.
That's
If
it.
it
It's
is,
sour.
I gotta
Sour.
rethink my
Yeah, and I hate Dunkin'
process.
Donuts, so I think that might be Dunkin'.
There's no way that's Dunkin'.
I
Dunkin's
hate
too
Dun- I
delicious.
hate
I would
Dunkin'
say that's
Donuts.
Keurig.
No way that's Keurig.
That's I would say that's
It could be, yeah, because it's
Probably.
pretty
Do I have a
watery
pl-
and like
I
kind of
need-
sour.
I wasn't ready for this. I
We should've
drink
done
mine with a
cold
lot of
brew, man.
cream and sugar.
I'm a cold coffee only. Like I only do cold
you
coffee.
gotta go cowboy style. Here.
Yeah, I was about to say. So the whole black coffee thing is I'm gonna struggle with. Okay, ready for number 2?
Number 2.
Wait,
so-
so Scott said that's Keurig.
Yeah.
Pastor, what's your answer?
Bryson says it's a bad cup of coffee.
I think it's either Keurig or Dunkin', because I hate Dunkin' and I did not like that.
Hope that's not yours, man. I hope that's not
Me
yours.
too, man. I just
Let's go.
Trash.
Let's go.
So what's your guys' answer?
I'm gonna go Dunkin'. We're gonna go Dunkin'.
I think it's
see. You know, I can't.
no. You can't look.
I
at
don't
it. You
want to
can't
follow
smell it.
Scott. I don't want to
Gotta be-
say.
I don't want to follow
Smell
Scott
it.
either.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say it's gas station coffee.
Yeah, no, there's no way. It's not strong enough. Gas station will punch you in the face.
Number 2.
Number two.
This smells good. Dunkin'. Guarantee it.
I was gonna say Burger King.
Burger King. Yeah, especially the
Dunkin'.
aftertaste. Burger.
But it's
BK.
still like. So this is
That
this
is delicious.
and this
No, that is not.
bad. Good, bad.
Good, bad.
Okay, this is way down. This
This is
way down.
really high for me.
Really, you like
Number
that?
2. That was
Really high?
delicious.
No, there's
so
no.
good.
There's no. That is
Number 3.
terrible.
That was Dunkin'. right
Number
there.
three,
Number
number
3.
three.
Number 3. Here we go.
The aftertaste is so bad.
Oh, that's delicious. That's Dunkin'.
That's probably gas station. Oh wait.
That's French press.
Oh,
French press.
and salt, Scott.
I'm gonna say that's Dunkin'.
I don't disagree with you, but I've already said that one's Dunkin', so I'm going with French press.
What did I say on the first one, Phil?
Dunkin'.
You
I
said
said
Dunkin'.
You can't switch
You
after.
said number 1 was Dunkin'.
Like
All right, and that's Burger King. It's good.
It's good.
Yeah, it's good.
French press.
Wait, you said last one was Burger King, no?
Yeah, the last one was Burger King, and I said Dunkin' my first one.
Yeah.
No, I said K-Cup my first one, didn't I?
No, you said Dunkin'.
All right, then I'm in agreement. I think this is like definitely
French press.
nah.
Not French press?
I'm going to throw out K-Cup because I don't.
You said
Okay,
you said
so
Keurig.
I
don't
like
think
that
I'll be able
one.
to-
I'll put that one a little higher than that one.
Yeah, 100. I'm in agreement.
Okay.
Okay.
switch.
Okay. Here we go.
This is number 4.
Number 4.
Mm-hmm.
That's delicious.
That right there
That's
is where it's
delicious.
at. I'm gonna say, gosh,
Look at him.
that could be French press right there. I don't know what holds in these final 2 cups, but I'm gonna say that's close to.
Since I've already said French press,
I think this tastes disgusting. It's terrible.
so it's definitely French press.
Nah, this is like.
the antagonist.
I think this is gas
Any-
station
stirring
right
it
here. Like this is terrible. Nah, that's good.
I think that is. I've already said. So that's pour over. That's our pour over.
So you think that's drug?
I think French press.
That's all the bottom.
Oh, did you?
Where are you putting it? Where are you putting it?
I think it's that's the best for sure.
Yeah.
I think it's French press.
Okay, here we go.
Mm.
Number 5. The worst one we've had so far. I hope that's not ours.
No.
That is
I'm
the
gonna
worst
say
one
that's
we've
gotta
had.
be.
That is terrible.
What did I do?
Burger King. That's Burger King right
gas
there, or
station?
gas station, whichever I haven't done. That's what
That's
that is.
100% gas station coffee.
This is
But I actually, it's probably my second favorite.
That is terrible.
Yeah, that's gas station 100%. It's got a whole different
Scott, what are you
flavor.
going for?
I think that's. I mean, I already used up my Dunkin' and Burger King.
Yep.
I'm gonna say that's my gas station then.
Okay, Pastor.
And
Yeah,
I
gas
think it's-
station
I
or
think
Burger
it's
King,
close
whichever I
down
haven't said.
there.
That's terrible.
You got Burger.
That's my least favorite. That was
That
my
one?
least favorite.
What's my close? It's down. That
I think that first
number
one was Keurig.
one was.
I think that first one was Keurig.
I don't know if that's coffee.
Now that I've tasted all the, I should have had a sip of coffee to wet my palate to get back to what I was drinking water. My bad. Number 6. Here we go.
Last one.
I know what that is. That's some strong Palmetto Pointe Church Scott coffee right there. I'm going to put it right there.
Yeah, but I'm gonna. I still say number 4 tasted really good. Let me try that again.
So, Pastor, all you got left is the Keurig.
Nah, that wasn't Keurig.
So you gotta
like
switch it out.
this.
Yeah, I'm switching.
Switch
I'm
it
switching
That's the
1 and
drip.
1 and 6.
I'm gonna say that's the drip.
Yeah, that's the drip. That's the Palmetto
French
Pointe
press,
Church
drip,
strong coffee.
Dunkin', Burger King.
So for one, you said gas
One's
station.
Keurig. I should have
We'll go back
listened.
through. All right, so you think one's Keurig.
I should have listened.
We
Okay,
didn't follow.
What number is this right here that I'm looking at?
that's 1.
This is 1?
Yep.
This is 6?
That's
Or 5? This was gas station. This was Keurig. This is Burger King. This is Palmetto Pointe Church, Dunkin', French press. Let me make sure.
I'm gonna read the original answers real quick.
Okay.
Because
Yeah, it's Dunkin'.
Scott literally got them all right.
What?
Like all of them. So Scott, number 1, Keurig, 2, Burger King, 3, Dunkin', 4, French press, 5, gas station, 6, drip.
What was 3?
3 was Dunkin'.
Dunkin'. All right, I got it right.
Honestly, I think the gas station was my number 3 favorite.
That's number 5? Here you go, Bo. You can no, that's the sour one you didn't like. 2 was the one that you thought.
Nah, this is gas station.
Try it and see. Make sure. Oh, yeah, that's the one I didn't like.
Yeah, that's number 3. That's like my 3rd favorite. Gas station coffee's got where it's at. It's like cooking in an iron skillet. It's all the
Yeah.
fumes and
You
junk.
can get a
There's-
good cup of gas station
100%.
coffee, especially like more like raunchier the gas station.
Yes.
So what makes it?
Yes.
What makes French press so good compared to gas station coffee, in your professional opinion?
The brew process. I think it's basically you're taking a whole bean that's fresh,
Need
like
some
a
Dunkin' to
fresh
wash that out.
grind, putting it in there and just letting it soak in the water, and that water is just pulling out all that flavor into the beans.
Yeah.
And then you press the screen down, and you just got this.
I definitely taste the
Coffee.
sour in Dunkin' that you're done.
Yeah,
with.
yeah.
Definitely have a little.
That's
sour
how
in
cold
it.
brew is made too, though. You like it's very not fine beans, like coarse beans,
Yeah.
and then you let them soak for 24 hours,
Yeah.
so it pulls out all.
So why
all
would
the
you go be a missionary?
To try all the different coffees of the world. What are you talking about? On someone else's budget.
What like what would make a, how old are you?
25.
What would make a 25-year-old man take his wife and his newborn child and go to the mission field?
I can give you like 3 answers. I'll give you the.
Give me the short podcast answer.
Okay, cool. So, church answer: God called me.
Yeah,
Simple as
for
that.
sure.
Whenever I was 10 years old,
For sure.
God spoke, said, "You will reach the nations," and I was crazy enough to believe it.
Amen.
The other answer is when I was in Africa, I was really struggling one day, and I was just like, "Man, how in the world did I end up here? I miss my family, I miss my friends, I miss good coffee because they deport coffee, but there is nothing good there." And I was just like, "Man, I really miss it." And then I asked myself, I said, if I was a millionaire, what would I be doing? I'd be traveling the world. I'd be helping people. I'd be seeing awesome places.
Mhm.
And then God asked me, what are you doing? I'm traveling the world. I'm helping people. And I'm seeing some of the most amazing things I've
Amen.
ever seen in my entire life.
Sweet.
So I'm living the millionaire life on someone else's budget.
And what would you say to somebody watching this that says, "Oh, there's that crazy missionary guy. I always wanted to do missions. where would you tell somebody to start? Obviously, for me, and I told him this, I told you this whenever we talked on the phone with him. Yeah. Going to Kenya for 90 days isn't the start.
No.
Like,
that's like
that, right? That's
swim.
That is right. Right. That's throw you in the deep end and start paddling the boat back to shore.
Yeah.
Where would you tell somebody, a 16-year-old kid that's watching this, that they're intrigued because they saw coffee up here, but they feel a calling on their life to do missions? Where would you tell them to start?
Come to my conference July 29th at International Praise Church of God in South Carolina. But for real, man, that's such a good question, especially in the Church of God, because there's so many denominations that have phenomenal programs. I would suggest going and talking to Max Barroso with The Awakening. Phenomenal for young people. Phenomenal, like nice. Top tier. And then YWAM, top tier. I mean, an incredible organization. But we are in the process. The call that I have to go and take at 10:30 is to discuss getting something in place. But just first start, get your feet wet, go and have coffee with a missionary. Change your life. If you don't want to do missions, do not go have coffee with a missionary. Go and have coffee with a missionary and go on a short-term trip, like a week, 2 weeks, whatever you can manage.
And I always tell people about short-term trips. Scott's living proof. The short-term mission trip is more for the people going on the mission trip than 100%. The actual place that we're going to visit and the impact that we're going to have there.
Yeah. But you have to go into it also with the mindset of knowing this is not what life is going to look like. It would be like someone from Kenya coming here the week of youth camp and then going and spending a week at youth camp, and they'll be like, America is insane. Like, it's so busy and fast-paced and so fun, and there's kids everywhere. Because, like you said, it is for us. So when we get there, or whenever people come to us, we put on a show. Like, life here is great. This is fun. We do all, like, when we brought a team out from the States for 10 days, we slaughtered a sheep while they were there, and they got to help take part in that. Scott's like, yeah, let me kill a sheep. We slaughtered a sheep. We hosted a big soccer tournament. We helped them. We set up very difficult jobs for the people in our compound, for those people to help complete those jobs. Like, we set it up to make sure that they had an incredible experience. That's not what life looks like.
Right.
But it lets you get a glimpse of what life could look like in a month. All the big jobs that you do in a mission trip, you're probably going to stretch those out over a month or 2 months living in the field.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Do you think Rowan will actually, like, grow up to be a missionary?
Dude, I think he's going to be a worship pastor.
Awesome.
I really do. Like, whenever we were pregnant, like, we would pray, and like I prayed that he would like have a love for music and learn how to.
Your
play
family a musical family?
We weren't, like, at all. Like, no, we all listen to music. Like, me and my dad have like an awesome vinyl record collection. Like, we listen to music, but we were not like.
Your mom and dad
singers.
both believers?
Yes. Yeah.
And both serving in the church?
Yes.
In some capacity?
Yes. Both.
And all of your brothers and sisters, I know you got a slew of them coming to help you tonight. Like, all of them are.
Yeah, and they're coming to help lead worship.
It's awesome.
So I was in college, and Missionary Heart, there was 3 guys from Korea that were international students, and they didn't have a place to go for Thanksgiving. So I volunteered my house, and like you said, there's a slew of us.
Yeah.
So
how many brothers and sisters you have?
There's 5 of us total.
5 total.
Yeah. So we have like a farmhouse out in Gaffney, South Carolina, and I invited 3 grown Korean men to come live with us. So they come for a week at Thanksgiving. We had a blast.
Did y'all slaughter a lamb for it?
We did not.
Oh, okay.
No, we killed it. So then next was Christmas break, which was like 6 weeks. And so I invited them back.
Nice.
And so they came and lived with us. And like they brought like their rice and everything. Nice. Like they brought all their stuff, but they like did life with us for those 6 weeks. Well, one of them, he played guitar, and he taught my little brother G, C, and E minor, or G, C, and D, something like that. And he just picked up YouTube after that. And now, years later, he's our lead guitarist in the church. I've started playing guitar, and family sings. My sister's boyfriend can play anything. So my brother's girlfriend, she sings, plays piano. So yeah, we were late bloomers in the worship world.
Brother Prope said he wishes he was here with us. He would take us and buy us a big old hamburger.
Well, we can go to Cleveland.
We should hold him to that.
Tomorrow.
I told him we're gonna hold you to that hamburger. What's somebody asked you about your mission trip? What's the story that stands out to you? Your mission trip story. What's the one thing that you're just like, if you had to pick one story to tell about your mission trip, what would it be?
I would say like probably the first time that I just sat down at a tree with like all these kids and they were just asking Anna and I questions. That was like the moment that was like, whoa, people think just different out here.
Yeah.
It was questions from like random, what's it like in America, to like deep spiritual questions.
It's awesome.
So
I
it's
have a
like,
picture of that moment. Like I took a picture of them.
yeah, that was the
Yeah.
first time it hit me. Like when I was there, of like, this is gonna change my life.
So awesome.
Yeah.
What about you? What's your story where you're like, if you had to pick one mission trip? How many mission trips have you been on?
7 or 8.
And you had to pick one moment from all your mission trips. What would it be?
Well, it would be that first one. There's probably a dozen moments on that one trip that I can actually say that's why that trip becomes a changing time of my life. But there was that one moment. I mean, that we were down the river.
Changed my life.
And you were baptizing people in the river, and I'm standing there on the riverbank, and I just like I felt myself change right there at that moment, and I can even think back to that trip, and I think back to it often. I have a picture of almost the eyesight of watching you baptize, and just the feeling that came over me on that riverbank totally changed my life forever, and I can point to that moment being the number one time.
Yeah, I would agree. For me, let me because it's our story, so I will spend a little extra time here. But let's set the picture. So we helped plant a church down there in Balo de Par.
Mm-hmm.
We helped plant a church down there, and they have these, I'm going to say 7 converts.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, we're saving these 7 converts for you whenever you get down here, to baptize whenever you get down here. So we come on our mission trip, and second half of the trip, we come to this little small town. We, preach a sermon there, and it's great. We go out Sunday after church to the beach. I mean, essentially, like the way the party is happening on the beach is how the party was happening there.
It's like a park right there on the river.
Both sides of the river, music
food,
blaring,
people everywhere.
grilling out, and I'm talking packed in.
Mm-hmm.
And in the midst of the chaos is these 7 converts and me and that pastor down there in the river, baptizing them, declaring their life has been forever transformed by Jesus Christ.
Mine was too. Yeah, it was, man. I can feel it right now. Dude, that was something special.
It was.
And I remember, again, another moment of us being on that trip. We go back to the hotel room, and I remember that night us being in there and looking. It was like, man, changing the world right there.
Yeah.
Like we're something special's happening. And
Yeah. The great thing about missions to me is I can't go everywhere and change the world, but I can support Bryson and what he's doing. And my fingerprint, and I say my fingerprint, I don't mean that selfishly, but our fingerprint, our church, let's use our church for an example. Our church fingerprint can be in Colombia and in Peru and in Kenya and in Thailand and in Burma and in, Honduras and in, all of these, Guatemala and El Salvador. And our fingerprint can be in all of these countries because we're able to support incredible men and women like Bryson and Anna, because we're able to support them, and we know we can't go to Kenya and change the world, or we can't go to parts of Africa and change the world, but Bryson can, and we can support him on this journey. And so one of the questions I get a lot with, and we're in a room full of missionaries, so nobody throw anything at me, okay? Coffee at me. Can't believe you would ask that. One of the pushbacks I always get from supporting missions. Last night we did we had a board meeting, and we got end of the year numbers, and this year we gave over $100,000 to missionaries this year, to missions. It's incredible.
Ranked.
Yeah, it's incredible. But one of the things I always get is there are people hurting in this city, in this town, in this community. Why would we send money to Africa or to Honduras or to Guatemala or to fill in the blank?
All right, let me grab this because I'm gonna have to go. I got like 2 minutes. Pull the sleeves. All right, so that's actually the question that I got like most when I accepted my call. People are like, there's hurting people here. There's homeless people here. There's orphans here. And I think the problem that we run into, and I think is our culture of America that has created this is, and I've been talking about this so much lately, so it's so crazy that you asked the question. I'll give the example of right now we run an outreach program at my church that I started 3 years ago, and we go out and we feed people that live in like long-term hotels. So it's not that they're homeless. They have a place to sleep at night. There's a roof, but that's what they do. And my mom was talking to me and she was saying, I want to expand this and reach actual homeless people. And she said, so how do you want to do that? And this is like recent, like 2 weeks ago, and don't think I'm a terrible person for saying this, but I'm just going to be completely honest. Yeah. I told her, I said, I think that's absolutely great. You should do that, but I don't have passion for it. I said, because after seeing what I've seen, I don't have compassion for homeless people the same way I did before I left. And not that I don't think that someone should reach them, but it's not for me. Yeah. And I think the issue that we run into is if you're called to be a youth pastor, then you think that youth ministry is the most important ministry. Amen. If you think that you're the pastor, you think that being the pastor is the most important ministry. If you think that you're a missionary, you know that missions is the most important ministry.
Prayer. Somebody that's called to prayer. Prayer is their ministry. This is the most important thing we do in the church.
It's absolutely, and it's to you. Right. And the thing is, we think because you're passionate about this and you're doing this, and I'm passionate about this and I'm doing this, then we disagree. Because the culture of today promotes division. Yep. If we disagree and you're black and I'm white, it's because one of us is racist. If we pull for opposite football teams, we can't just get together and have a fun time watching football. We're rivals. Yep. And we promote division, so it can't be reaching the homeless in the States is just as important as reaching the kids overseas. It's because I'm more passionate about the people here and you're more passionate about the people over there, then you're wrong. Yep. But if we could just say, the call of God is to reach the lost, and you need to do it the way that you can do it, and I need to do it the way that I can do it, and we need to work together and realize that just because we do things a little bit different doesn't mean that we disagree. It just means that we're running the same race. The end goal is to reach the lost. Yep. But by doing what you're called to do and reaching youth, and doing what you're called to do and being a pastor, and me going overseas and doing what I'm called to reach foreigners, we're reaching a wider span of people. Mm-hmm. But we think because we're going about it a different way, then one of us must be wrong. Yep. Yes, there are poor people here, there are homeless people here, there are orphans here, but that's not my call. Right. And it's not wrong for me to chase after my call because you're passionate about the orphans here. Then reach them. Right. That's great. But we, like I said, man, we think that because we have different passions, then we disagree.
Yeah, and for a church that should we help orphans? Absolutely. Should we support missions? Absolutely. Should we help the homeless here? Absolutely. The great thing is for us, we're helping all of these other segments here inside of our community every single week, and we're unable to help missionary. See you, Bryson. Enjoyed it, man. God bless. Love you, bud. He's gone. He's got to go to a phone call. So yeah, I agree completely with him. I think it's crazy to think that we can't help in a lot of different ways, and we can't just be pitching toed into there's hurting people in our community. There are hurting people in our community, but there are hurting people in Africa as well, and we can't forget them. And there are hurting people in Honduras as well, and we can't forget them.
And I've found in my experience a lot of times that overseas is more accepting to our message and our us being there and our wanting to help them. I've had an personal experience to where I was in Guatemala, and we did like a youth thing and had some food and games and things like that, and everybody had a great time, and it was wonderful. You come back home, you try to do a local outreach in another similar community, and they're like, "Man, you just got hot dogs? Like, where's the burgers at?" Stuff like that. So I feel like that down there, they are more receptive to the message you have.
I remember this story. I won't tell the details of the story.
Yes.
But Scott had freshly come back from a missions trip. He was so fired up. Yeah. He was so fired up, like so ready to change the world.
And that's what happens when you come back from a trip.
Yeah, and then he goes into an outreach event in our community, and one of the kids that should have, that seemingly in our world was a kid in need, says to you, all you've got is hot dogs, where are the hamburgers?
Mm-hmm. And then
I remember the next day I don't want to do this.
it was upsetting. He was also not very nice. That was the nice way.
That's the nice way of
put
saying it. Yeah.
It really hurt me. It really was a shot, and I really was like, yeah, I remember it coming into your office like, why are we doing this? Like I can't do this. And it's just not what I'm, like Bryson said, it's just not what I was made for, that kind of.
Which is kind of, it started the process of us shifting to where you used to have missions and local outreach. It seemed like they partnered well together, but it kind of started our, okay, Scott, your focus is missions completely. And then we'll have somebody else to focus on local outreach because they're not the same thing.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Good job on your coffee today.
Thank you. I told you, I'm a bit like, right now I'm a little jittery, fired up. We've been fasting for a few days. And
so which of these have the most caffeine in it? French press? Or all of the above?
I don't know. I'm unfamiliar, like how you're going to measure the caffeine of it, because again, I think it's more of the brew process and the concentration of the coffee bean. Right. I would say probably more of our French press because that's got more of the bean, and Keurig is probably less because it's more dried, it's more processed, and a lot of the other fast food and other coffees maybe more watered down. So
how can they get our coffee?
They can come in. We have it available here at the church and the shop. You're able to purchase pounds of coffee. We have
how much is a pound?
And full bean. 1 pound is $12. Again, that money is comes back in, and we reinvest that money into the missions field, missions projects like the water filtration system in Thailand. We have a website. It's palmettocoffee.co for the Palmetto Pointe or Palmetto Coffee Company, and yeah, we have it whole bean or ground. We ship if anyone's out of state or wants to send it to friends and family. We ship anywhere in the world.
Yeah, it's delicious. I drink it every single morning. I just put a little cream in mine.
I do in the afternoon. Like once it gets later, like
I drink cafe con leche.
My dinner coffee is more sugar and cream, like after dinner coffee. But when I start out, it's straight cowboy
straight black.
Coffee, black
Tough.
coffee.
Tough. All right. Thank y'all for hanging out with us. Thank you, Bryson. Appreciate you
for
being here
me today.
buddy. Thank you for your expertise. You watch it every week?
Yeah.
Good. Appreciate you. Thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. You heard Sash? Which of these coffee cups were Sash? It's a good thing. Sash is a good thing.
Yeah.
And number 1. And number 4, Sash. Sash, bro.
Sash, bro.
Woo! That's black Sash.
Yeah.
Delicious. No, you're not going to say Sash, not one time.
Sash.
There you go. Appreciate it. Love you all. Thank you for hanging out. Peace.
See you.
Let's go.